Tommy DeVito gets his first career win, while Antonio Pierce gets his first career loss. We'll talk about all that and more as we go over my power rankings for the NFL. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you didn't know. So go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. If you're unfamiliar with how we do power rankings on this channel, I separate it into 5 tiers, with the bottom tier, of course, being bottom of the league. And then right above that, I have this tier called could be, but unlikely. Teams that I think they're just bad, but they could play spoiler to better teams. And then you have your actual playoff contenders as the middle tier. And then right above that, the second highest tier that I have, playoff teams. Teams that I think are guaranteed playoff caliber squads. And then, of course, above that are your legit Super Bowl contenders. With that being said, let's go ahead. Let's dig into this sucker with my 32nd placed team. It's the Carolina Panthers. We're just kind of like waiting, wanting to see signs of life from Bryce Young at this point. I get it. The offensive line is bad. The playmakers are underwhelming. And I mean, to be fair, you even made a good case that the pick 6 he threw this week wasn't even his fault. But it's just like we just haven't seen too many encouraging signs yet from Bryce Young. This is a team very much in rebuild. It really sucks that they no longer own their first pick, considering looks like it's going to be the first overall pick. But it is what it is. Right above them, I do have the New England Patriots. I truly believe that Bill Belichick is trying to tank for his franchise quarterback. And you might be like, Bro Schmo, why would you say such a thing? Why would you believe that? Because I'm a Dolphins fan. I know Bill Belichick. I know his tricks. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to make people believe he didn't exist. And that's what he's trying to do, man. He's trying to make us believe he's a bad coach now. He's trying to make us believe that he ain't going to be here next year. While he's just tanking to get, I don't know, Caleb Williams, Drake May. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. Regardless of this Patriots team, the defense, they're missing key starters because of injury. I think the offensive, they were on a bye this week, but I think the offensive line has been better as it got healthier, but they do lack they lack playmakers in general. There's no one out there making plays. Oh, DeMario Douglas is all fine and okay, cool. If he's like maybe your wide receiver 3 or 4, but wide receiver 1, you're in trouble. Right ahead of the Patriots at number 30 for me is going to be the G-Men, the Giants. This may come to a shock as they just won this week. But I just think they have the Commanders' number. I kind of just believe that. The defense played a really good game. Big reason why they won. But also they let Tommy DeVito just sling the rock. And he was fairly solid at that. Isn't it kind of wild that this offense has looked better under Tyrod Taylor, under Tommy DeVito? Granted, it was just this one game, than it has under Daniel Jones. Maybe you should have given him that extension. Look at this, dude. Daniel Jones out for the season, and he's catching strays in this. It is what it is. But I think Saquon Barkley, honestly, I find it baffling that some people like, we shouldn't pay him or bring him back. I mean, I get to a degree you don't want to overpay him, and I get he has been hurt, but he is the focal point of this offense. This offense kind of revolves around him. It did last year, and it has this season. Now, I only have one other team in this bottom of the league tier, which may surprise y'all, but it's going to be the Tennessee Titans here. The Titans, this was just an abysmal showing. They didn't really come out to play. The defense didn't look good. they can't get anything like on the ground going. Like Derrick Henry is out here looking for scraps, and his offensive line won't even give him that. The offensive line's been exceptionally bad. Poor Will Levis, man. He's out there just trying to survive, and you just look at this team and you're just like, you're just bad. Just bad squad right now. But with some promise and parts to the future, but they do need to overhaul some of the positions. They need to upgrade some of their positions. Because currently they just aren't good. But listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet, so send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals, and guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. Chicago Bears, welcome to the could be but unlikely tier. I'm going to put them right here. A good, a solid performance by Justin Fields. And they end up coming up short. For as many times as the Lions shot themselves in the foot, they never truly were out of this game and were able to come back and win it there at the end. This is an a defense that I think is gradually getting better. The offensive line for the Bears, I do think, is gradually getting better, but part of that is they've gotten healthier, or at least, well, Braxton Jones is back and he's playing solid. I mean, obviously, still, like, I'm not saying this is a good squad. They're coming in here, got 32, 31, 30, 28th on my power rankings. So obviously not a good squad, but with Justin Fields back, I do think they can maybe win a few more, man. I think they could potentially go on a little bit of a mini tear. Right ahead of them is the Arizona Cardinals. This is a team that doesn't have a lot of talent currently on the defense. They lack depth in terms of talent. But they still came out to play and played well against a very hot Houston Texans squad. Kyler Murray has this offense looking just much better. And to be fair, they didn't take advantage of a lot of their opportunities. They were unable to convert important third and fourth downs in this game. But still, you see a lot more stability at the quarterback position with Murray there. So I like the Cardinals. I think they're looking a bit better, but still got a long ways to go. Okay, next I got the newly Tim Boyle-led Jets. Zach Wilson was essentially benched in this game, and he will not even serve as backup next week against, the Dolphins on Black Friday. So he's going to kind of be the emergency quarterback. Yeah, this offense kind of sucks, and finally the defense they couldn't do it anymore. Bills came out, was like, hey, we're gonna come out and score some points. They did, and the Jets had no answer. So yeah, I got the Jets here trending down. I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to be back to save the season, because at this point I don't think the season can be saved. I think you just say, hey, Aaron, get healthy, come back next year. We're going to surround you with more parts, make this team better, and get us our Super Bowl in 2025. Next, I have the Washington Commanders. Some people will be butthurt that I don't have the Giants over the Commanders, but I think, all in all, I do think that the Commanders are a better squad. I just think the Giants have their number this season. This was a bad Sam Howell game. I think it was a bad game all around. It wasn't just Sam Howell out there making mistakes. He had 3 picks, but there were also 3 fumbles from playmakers. I think it was Pringle had a fumble, Logan Thomas had a fumble, Brian Robinson, I believe, had a fumble. So they were just consistently shooting themselves in the foot and just couldn't get back into this game because of it. They were able to get pressure on a piss poor offensive line for the Giants, but at the end of the day, man, this secondary just got torched by freaking Tommy DeVito. Ugh. All right ahead of them, I'm going to put the Las Vegas Raiders, man. This team's playing tough for Antonio Pierce, and I contemplated putting them a little higher on this list, but I just couldn't do it as of right now. And we'll talk why as we get to some of the teams that are ahead of them in this tier. Aiden O'Connell ain't the answer. Like, Devontae Adams ate in that game, but also O'Connell missed him quite a bit on a few passes. Jalen Ramsey ends up picking off 2 passes on O'Connell, but the defense also has been playing really good football as of late as well. You have guys stepping up like Adam Butler, Robert Spillane, just solid. I love how this team, it's a breath of new life with Josh McDaniels gone. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. All right. Right ahead of them, I have the Atlanta Falcons. They're on a bye. Desmond Ridder will be the quarterback moving forward. I think all in all, they're a slightly better squad than the Raiders are now. We'll see next week. Again, this can change. They're ranked fairly close to one another. Right ahead of them is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Am I flipping the switch too early on the Bengals now that Joe Burrow's out for the season? Because, I mean, Jake Brown had a good drive at the end of the game, but to be fair, the Ravens were playing real squishy and kind of letting them have a lot underneath. I do think effectively their season is now over with Joe Burrow out for the season. They're going to be struggling for wins, and I just don't see them. I just don't see them getting many more wins because their schedule down the stretch here ain't exactly easy. So, hey, Bengals, you're going to get a decent draft pick maybe this season. So, draft well, have a good offseason, and come back ready as a Super Bowl contender next year. Right ahead of them, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. And Chargers edge out the Bengals and teams like the Falcons and the Raiders simply because those teams don't have Justin Herbert. Herbert was let down in this game by his playmakers. 6 drops on the day. You had an uncharacteristically bad game from Keenan Allen. He had good stats, but he had 3 drops, 1 being a touchdown. You had Quentin Johnston dropping what would have been like a 40-yard bomb. I think it was on the final drive of the game. And the offensive line played poorly. Like Zion Johnson, who was supposed to be a sure thing. Like, this is a guy that has a very safe floor, has been pretty bad this season. Things aren't going well. That's just offensively. Defense is a freaking nightmare. Like Brandon Staley, your defensive-minded head coach, can't coach a good defense. As you can tell, he wasn't too enthused about it when questioned if he's going to retain play calling duties defensively at his press conference. But this is the last team I have in this could be but unlikely tier. We're going to go ahead, move on, as I have the Green Bay Packers in this playoff contender tier. Yeah, they're long shots. But I decided to slide them up in this tier because they're in the NFC, that they have a shot here. And I think these young playmakers on offense are starting to mature. They're starting to grow. We had a big game from Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft. Jordan Love has looked good in recent weeks. Might be a team to watch out for. I'm kind of curious how they will play against the Detroit Lions. Going to be an interesting one there. Right ahead of them, I have the Rams. The Rams do lose Cooper Kupp in this game, in this win against Seattle, but we've seen them, as long as Matthew Stafford is healthy and playing, that he gives them a shot. The defense has overachieved at portions. We've had guys kind of emerge here and there for them, but for the most part, this is still Aaron Donald and maybe a guy here or there each week. But the Rams, I think, they're going to be getting healthy. They're going to bring in Kyron Williams, I believe, returns next week. That's going to be huge. So I'm not willing just yet to say the Rams, like, pull the plug on the Rams. They have now swept the Seahawks, and I think they have a real shot maybe to sneak into that wild card. Granted, I think it's very unlikely. Right ahead of them, Indianapolis Colts. They're on a bye. Not much to talk about there. Gardner Minshew is going to give this team a shot. There are worse currently starting quarterbacks in the league than Gardner Minshew. And defensively, this is still a fairly solid squad. So I think they're going to be fine. Right ahead of them is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They kind of luck out that they play in the NFC South, which means you could probably have a losing record in the NFC South and get to the playoffs. Much like they did last year, right? But it was a bad showing. Like, the offense didn't really have a great game. The run game continues to suck. Cody Mott continues to have a rough rookie season, as many expected, though he would. And the defense, like, a lot of blown coverages in this game against the Niners. And it didn't help that Jameel Dean went down in this game. Carlton Davis went down in this game. So a rough outing altogether for the Bucs. And they had opportunities to keep this game close and just were unable to score in the red zone. And then, of course, let's put the Saints right in front of them. They were on a bye this week. The question is it Derek Carr? I imagine Derek Carr will be the starter if healthy, though I would love to see Jameis take the wheel. At least from an offensive standpoint, I would love to see the roller coaster that is Jameis Winston. Is this team better with Jameis Winston at quarterback? I think maybe, but not by much. But there's a lot of talent on this squad. We'll see how they come out after the bye. Right in front of them, I'm going to put the Minnesota Vikings. Tough loss this week. A lot of shooting themselves in the foot. They lose the turnover battle. With even their first turnover being a sweep where they had Dobbs lined up at running back. They tossed it to him. Not great. They had a chance to win the game at the end, and they're unable to get down the field to make the game-winning field goal. Rough loss, close loss. There will be better weeks for the Vikings. I truly believe that. Right ahead of them is the team that beat them, the Denver Broncos. Don't look now. Denver Broncos are going to be vying for a wild card spot in the AFC. This team, I think, is currently on a 4-game winning streak. Let's see. Denver Broncos, Sketty. They are currently on, let's count it out here. They just beat the Vikings, they beat the Bills, beat the Chiefs, beat the Packers. So yeah, 4-game winning streak. The defense has played much better since getting 70 put on them. And Russ is quietly cooking. Like, you're asleep in your bed right now, and you don't know? Russ is in your kitchen cooking. He is quietly cooking. He is playing well. He is keeping the ball out of harm's way. Cortland Sutton is playing well this season. Watch out. The Broncos are legit playoff contenders. And then the final team I have in this playoff contender tier, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their offense looks cruddy. Give Jalen Warren more touches. Why is Najee still out snapping him? Like, Warren is just so much better. He is the only bit of offense they got going on because Kenny Pickett can't complete a pass, which just means guys like George Pickens and Deontay Johnson can't really do much because their quarterback can't get them the football. They're lucky they have a good defense. They're lucky. It was hard to believe that they were in that game with the Browns for as long as they were. But it all works out. I will talk about a funny moment that happened in this game, and I'll do that when we get to the Browns. But let's jump to this next tier, the playoff tier. The Seattle Seahawks just feel like kind of like the perfect team that kind of like encompasses the bottom of this playoff tier. It's like they get swept by the Rams. They've had a couple of close games here and there. Like Geno Smith hasn't been very good in the red zone, but they have a lot of playmakers and they can't put up offense. Defense is playing relatively well. They're starting to get after the passer a lot too. Granted, again, it's the Rams offensive line. To be fair, it's just that left tackle position for the Rams offensive line. But yeah, no, it's like this is a good team. Will they be able to, as the schedule gets tougher, will they be able to remain in playoff contention? It's kind of the big question. Also, you got Kenneth Walker dealing with the oblique injury. Don't know how long he will be out or if he'll miss time. And then Geno Smith having the elbow injury. So those are something to kind of like keep tabs on. Right ahead of them are the Buffalo Bills. Did they prove anything by beating the living piss out of the Jets? Not as much as you may think. Oh, the offense looked better. Did it? I mean, they moved the ball better. They were able to score, win and scoring opportunities. But prior to Ken Dorsey getting fired, this was a team that had no trouble scoring or no trouble piling up yards and getting in scoring position. They were just unable to create points out of those possessions. In this game, they happened to do so. So good on them. Do I think, the defense is back? No, the defense is still hurt, banged up. It'll remain that way. They just happen to be facing Zach Wilson this week. Right ahead of them, I have the Houston Texans. Is there a hotter team in football than the Houston freaking Texans? I don't think there is. CJ Stroud, even in a game where he throws 3 picks, granted, you could argue a couple of them weren't his fault. Honestly, I think 2 of them were just really good plays, I think, by the DB or the defender, while the other one, I believe bounced out of the hands of, I forgot who. I want to say it was Nico Collins, but I'm not positive. But regardless, this defense is playing much better than I expected them to this season. Don't look now. They're going to be contended for that AFC South. They take on the Jaguars next week. Then right ahead of them, I'm going to put the Cleveland Browns. DTR looks like probably will be the quarterback for the remainder of the year. And honestly, they didn't move the football well until that final drive of the game where it ends up winning the game for them. They get in field goal position. But this defense is still, in my opinion, the best defense in the league, which means they're going to be hard to beat. Also, funny moment in this game where a Steelers player loses their helmet. Myles Garrett goes to pick it up, and Broderick Jones is like, whoa. We've already seen this before, which is funny enough. Broderick Jones was in Georgia when this happened. But you could see Myles Garrett and some of the Steelers got good hearty laugh out of that. So nice wholesome moment, which is funny because the moment that, they're kind of making fun of, making jokes about there, not really wholesome. At least not for Mason Rudolph. Hopefully he wasn't watching. But the last team I have in this tier is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Are the Jags back? I mean, maybe. I don't know. Good teams are allowed to put out stinkers here and there. And they had a stinker last week against a very good 49ers squad. They come out, they beat the living crap out of the Tennessee Titans. Now they have essentially a must-win against the Texans, or else the Texans take first place. So let's see how Trevor Lawrence comes out and how they deal with this. Calvin Ridley decided to show up this game. Nice to see you, Calvin Ridley. You were probably on a ton of people's benches, but the defense remains very good for the Jaguars. I feel like I may have called them the Bengals a couple of times. I'll probably see it in the comments section. All right. From here on out, I have Super Bowl contenders. Because I think Super Bowl contenders is going to be kind of wide open this season. I'm going to start with the Dallas Cowboys. We know they're going to make the playoffs. They don't have exactly like the most terrifying final stretch of the season, but they're going to make the playoffs. The question is, can they win? Can they go far in the playoffs? I shouldn't say win. They won a game last year against not great Bucs team. And To be fair, they played San Francisco to the wire last year, but can they advance? Can they get to that conference championship, have a shot at the Super Bowl? That kind of is the question, but I was going to say a good win, but I mean, the Panthers probably hung around longer than Cowboys would have liked. Deron Bland was like, enough of this. I'll go out, get my 4th pick 6 of the season. Dude, he's having a banger year. Banger year. All right, next I'm going to have the Detroit Lions right here ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. They will be my, what was this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are 6th in my power rankings. Good. I'm willing to say that's a good win. Yeah, was it pretty? Hell no, it wasn't pretty. But they were able to stick around in a division game where they were just consistently turning the ball over. And they managed to get the ball at the end, take the lead, and then Aiden Hutchinson was, don't worry, I'll go ahead, take it away from here, strip sack, safety, ends the game. I like this squad. I like this squad a lot. A lot. Okay, next I'm going to have my Miami Dolphins. Was it a great win? No. The Raiders played tough. They played hard. And it wasn't the type of win as we're accustomed to. But I think a lot of that had to do was we weren't facing a losing squad. The Raiders were 5-5. So getting a moderate 7-point win kind of makes sense. Because the Raiders aren't technically a winning team, so of course we wouldn't lose to them. But they weren't a losing team, so I guess we weren't going to like win by like 15, 20 points. But Devon A-Chain sounds like he's day-to-day re-aggravating the knee. Tyreek did Tyreek things. The defense honestly won the day for us, so good on that. This defense is getting healthier and healthier, so I like that. Here at number 4, I'm going to have the Baltimore Ravens. They got things done against Burrow in the first half and then took their foot off the pedal to some extent on Jake Browning in the second half. But for me, this is one of the more complete squads in the league. Odafe always started this breakout season. He has just been unstoppable. We've Zay Flowers. It didn't show up in the stat sheet, but like he has been a big weapon for them. Should have had a touchdown, but got called back on honestly a pretty poor called game by the refs. And to be fair, it like went both ways. There were terrible calls on the Bengals and the Ravens in that game. But for me, I think the Ravens are probably one of the more complete teams around the league. Next, I have the Kansas City Chiefs, fresh off a loss, and this team's just finding ways to lose. They controlled this game against the Eagles probably up until there was 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But they just couldn't score when in scoring positions. They kept making mistakes. I keep mentioning it. The Patrick Mahomes touch pass has been one of the most intercepted balls in the league. We saw that in the red zone. Travis Kelce had a fumble in this game. No Taylor Swift, no offense? What the heck? Defense still played relatively well. Unfortunately, allowed the big play at the end of the game. The Devontae Smith pass that got them to the 1 led to the tush push. Offense unable to clap back. MVS, granted, dropped a touchdown pass. But along with that, you had the Mahomes grounding, intentional grounding play where you just couldn't get the ball past the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, offensively, this isn't the Chiefs team we're accustomed to. But Philadelphia Eagles are going to be my number 2 team. I don't think they were only the better team in that ball game for about, let's say 5 to 6 minutes. Listen, this is a Eagles team with a ton of talent. But they should be moving the ball way more than they are. The offensive play calling's has been kind of sketch. Like, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Jalen Hurts design run. Okay. Well, first and second down. We're going to call a couple of screenplays. Okay. Yeah, no, the play calling hasn't been all that great this year. I'm not going to lie. So, like, I don't know. The Eagles, like, they're a one-loss team, but they feel like an very beatable one-loss team. And here I have the San Francisco 49ers. I know people are going to roll their heads. Holy moly, he's put in a 3-loss Niners team here at 1. Yeah, no. Last 2 weeks has looked... The last 2 weeks have been were the Niners that we thought they were at the beginning of the year. They had that rough 3-week stretch where they didn't look that good, and they have come out and be like, nah, we're back on track. We've gotten healthier offensively with Trent Williams, Debo back. Unfortunately, they lose Talanoa Ufanga in this game to an ACL injury, but Jair Brown steps up in this game and just has a banger, 2 pass breakups, an interception. So yeah, I think this is the Niners team we expected. But that's it for the video. Quick, let's give a shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for sponsoring the video. Sign up using promo code Broshmo and Underdog Fantasy. They'll match that first deposit up to $100 dues. But as always, please bet responsibly, my friends. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.